This episode is brought to you by PayPal. You had plans for the last days of summer. And back-to-school shopping has its own plans. School supplies, dorm essentials, your list doesn't stop. Neither does the spending. But when you pay in full with PayPal, you can pay over time. No interest, no fees. Check out with PayPal and get back to summer. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payinfor. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coach Unplugged. So excited you decided to join us today. Before I jump into the podcast, go over and leave a 5-star review. We really love those reviews. Leave some comments. I read all of them and we would really appreciate that. But before we get started, I would definitely want to give a big shout out to our 2 sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market, bar none. Mention Coach Unplugged, you get $450 off and you'll get the best customer service you'll ever expect. Just mention Coach Collins and they'll take really good care of you. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It is the one-stop shop for basketball coaches. It's something, when I started teachhoops.com, it was what I would have wanted as a young coach before, all the state championships and all the nationally ranked teams that I've coached. And not to brag, just to kind of tell kind of my journey, I would have killed for this stuff because it would have made my life so much easier. A little bit of everything that you need to become a better basketball coach. And we are the only people out there that offer a 14-day free trial because we believe in it so much. Follow the roadmap, work on your craft, and you get me one-on-one mentoring. So I can't imagine anything better than that. I don't know. Anyway, go over and check it out, and let's head off to the podcast.
Well, first, if you see me drinking my flavored water or my cheeseburger, I just got done coaching a soccer game, so I'm trying to fit all this stuff in. I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But the question, let's stay on task because
Yes.
the season, people are getting the midst of their season. We have several people have asked questions on our Facebook page, and so one of the questions was, how do you establish your offense the first 2 weeks of practice?
That's a great question. I mean, so we're kind of tweaking our offense. So if anyone's listening to this, better come scout us. I think it really has to be broken into small little pieces. So we have literally after tryouts, we have broken it down into small pieces where we're teaching them, we're doing small-sided games. We're teaching them specific moves or specific things that we want them to be able to do in the offense. And then we're bringing it back up into the entire offense. I think the problem, especially with a lot of youth coaches, is they just throw it in there. If they're running dribble drive or read and react, whatever they're running, and they just throw it in and they don't break it into – you got to break it into small skill sets. So I think – and we've talked about this. I think it's really important to map out your season, especially the first couple of weeks, of what do you need in for your first opponent. And you definitely need – a basic offense that probably can work against both man and zone. I mean, establishing it is important, especially if you're a fast or slow paced team. You have to establish that quickly and often. Some of the teams I've had, literally practice was a track meet. I mean, I would be tired after an hour and 20 minutes because it was, and then I've also had other teams where we just worked on setting screens and grinding and, taking 35 seconds off the clock every time. So I think those those things are extremely, what you establish early, for having 40 kids in your classroom, you can vouch for this. Those things that you establish early on the offensive end are going to stick with you for a long time unless you have to break those habits. But how do you do it?
Well, I think first off, you have to look at the three components of a good offense, and you have to explain that to your players off. So no matter what you do offensively, you have to have really good spacing. You have to be able to have player movement and ball movement in everything that you do. I think if you can focus on that early in the season, the perfect screening and all that stuff, it's not going to happen.
No.
If you get the guys to do that early, I think no matter offense that you're running, I think those are the three things you've got to constantly look at, almost like a rubric. Are we doing these things within our offense? And then you try to better those as you continue on throughout the season. I think you made a great point is establishing your tempo. That's huge. Because it is just it's trying to figure out what kind of team you're going to be early in the season.
You have to figure that out early too, and it's like you got to establish it with them, and it's a mental part.
And then you got to be careful how much you front load. Are you doing too many sets? Are you going 5 or 6 different offenses? And sometimes it's easier to be simple. I like to be very simple offensively and more complex defensively. And that's just been something that I've learned from years past is that, sometimes it's really about getting a lot of shots off and finishing and keeping it simple offensively and then making defense a little bit more complicated in regards to making it harder on the opponent.
Defense is going to be farther along early too.
Right. I think also then designing breakdown drills within your offense, just don't choose breakdown drills because you think they're awesome. They have to be relatable to what you're doing offensively. So you can constantly build on what you're doing.
Like
everything has to have,
if you're setting a lot of flare screens, you got to do things with flare screens. If you're setting back screens, if you're setting, down whatever, maybe you're not screening, maybe you're working on dribble drive and rotate, all those things, you have to build that in quickly and fast. And we're just talking, and that I'm just referring to the half court part. If you're thinking tempo, oh my God, it's like that takes months unless they've been doing it since they're in 3rd grade. The tempo thing is a harder thing. It's easier to slow them than then speed them up.
Right. And one thing that I notice is that a lot of times people like to start things. I like to do things out of a side, out of balance, or out of inbounds. It seems like sometimes they just want to restart everything, like taking the ball on the top of the key. There's never in the game where you start into your offense with just starting in the top of the key.
Ooh, I love that. That's true.
And so often I think people make that mistake of constant grinding in the half court. All right, let's go from a side out of bounds play into our offense. Side out of bounds play into our offense.
Here's the question I have for you, and I've thought about this too. It's like, how often do we really get side out of bounces into offense or underneath into offense? How many possessions in a game?
It's like, I think it's really about the progression game. I used to love to do progressions. All right, so we're going to go 4 or 5 minutes hard or 4 or 5 lengths down the court. Take a free throw, do it again. Process, do it again. Do it again, do it again. Because I just don't think you should constantly be stuck in the half court because I think it becomes monotonous. It doesn't become authentic, and it's too easy. It becomes too easy, and kids don't cut. They just stand. They don't move. It's just not a good way to really build your offense. You want to try to do things out of the full court into your offense.
Yeah, and I think you hit a point too early that spacing part is really hard for them.
Right.
It is really hard for them to get that spacing down to truly understand what's going on.
And really, the spacing starts on the initial break to your area on the offensive side of the floor. Are our guys getting wide? And it's hard to establish if you're constantly doing it in the half court. Guys are, you get them wide and stay wide and go into that, and then start to take things away. People get comfortable in things that are happening. If you're a pack line defense, maybe once in a while you got to try to go against a defense that's going to play more up the line. Start to challenge the defense to give them different looks, or go five people on your offense and 6 guys on defense. Make it a little bit harder. Add some trapping. All those things. And be really good at 1 or 2 things early on, and then if you can do that, then you can go on to the next level. But
those are your building blocks. Those are your building blocks.
Slow to go fast.
Yeah, I agree. All right, anything else on that? That's great. I think that don't overcomplicate things, I think, is one of the big takeaways too. You don't need what you're going to be running 3 months from now in that first 2 weeks. You need the basics, and you need to pound the basics so that they learn to read things within your offense.
All right, Coach. Question of the day is, you're at a away game. What's the one thing you always buy at a concession stand?
I don't do it. I'm a big blow pop person, so that's for volleyball. That's definitely a thing. But one of my assistants always buys the opposing school's popcorn, and then we have a running scale of who has the best popcorn.
I like that. I like that.
So we always say, I always ask, like, where does this rank? It's like so John always buys one, and then we kind of rank the popcorn, because
I would say the only thing I ever buy at a concession stand is usually a pick-me-up. So either a soda or something that get me going if I'm I'm dragging. Other than that, I never tend to buy anything because my stomach is too sick. And
the only good thing is, like, we usually sometimes have leftover hot dogs. They're so good. They're disgusting. If you do any sort of research on what's in a hot dog.
Yeah, but hot dogs in the grills are really good too.
Yeah, there's something about sitting in that water for 3 hours and then eating it tastes good.
Yeah,
it's so bad. I don't remember last time we bought hot dogs in this house, but I had to basically Heimlich both of our kids on hot dogs. I did. I mean, it was like projectile. Yeah, it's like a huge choking hazard.
So in the end, don't eat hot dogs either.
Yeah, don't eat hot dogs. Live
a longer life.
All right, till next week, Coach.
Yep.
Couple weeks. Countdown.
Yep.
All right,
sounds
bye.
good. Bye.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you subscribe and like no matter where you listen, Apple, Spotify. We love those 5-star reviews. Make sure you also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.
Booking.com is the easiest way. From a day surrounded by noise to a stay surrounded by nature. That's nice. Go on, book it. It's easy. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
NFL football season is here, which means when you switch to Verizon, it feels like touchdown. Because you get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us when you buy an eligible 5G phone on select unlimited plans, which means you can watch every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. And it's all on us. Now that's the Verizon way to kick off the NFL football season right. Switch and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us, only with Verizon.